Good day. My topic is the following. There was no estrangement between prehistoric man and today's man. My question is, why did man not overcome the vices of prehistoric people through good history? See history of wild man and woman. Human is still as wide in the 21st century as the prehistoric and the Homo sapiens. Modern archaic man problem. Historical background. About 2,600,000 years ago, the Stone Age began about 2,600,000 years ago, when researchers found the earliest evidence of human using stone tools, and lasted until about 3,300 BC, when the Bronze Age began. It is typically broken into three distinct periods: the Paleolithic period, Mesolithic period, and Neolithic period. Homo sapiens. Now, second paragraph. The heresy of Homo sapiens. What we mean by Homo sapiens? What does it mean? In Latin, wise man. The species to which all modern human beings belong. Homo sapiens is one of several species ground into the genus Homo, but it is the only one that is not extant. See also human evolution. What are the behavioral traits that define fully modern Homo sapiens? See Google, for example, about these topics. Most scholars agree that modern Homo sapiens behavior can be characterized by abstract thinking, planning death, symbolic behavior, example art, ornamentation, music and dances, exploitation of large game and blade, technology among others. Morphologically and behaviorally, this brief review will cover the general characteristics of archaic Homo sapiens, morphology, paleontology, and behavior. Or modern Homo sapiens have been allocated the archaic human sapiens. In general, archaic Homo sapiens were admitted the membership in our species because of their almost modern sized brain, but set off as archaic because of their primitive looking cranial morphology. For instance, the Bodo in Ethiopia and Arago in France, hominin fossil display evidence of cut marks suggestive of cannibalistic behavior. And what does it mean, the complete similarity in the behavior of the prehistoric man, Homo sapiens, a postern man, or a man of today, in violence, destruction, and killing, as the ancient man used the tool, and today a person and the age in the aforementioned behavior use tools and technique of the age. It is genetics or culture that has not changed. Now we have faced with four theories about this question. The first one, the discussion about the human nature. Number two, the genetic theory. Number 3, the stability of the culture of human conflict and man, prehistoric and Homo sapiens up to date. Fourth theory, the theory of evil. Human is not originally rational, reasonable. See the myth of Homo sapiens, as it is destructive and fatal, with the fatal word and the violence, act, wars, torture, and murder. And with the blameless look at the loud cry of insulting, cancel, and deny the different others. Postmodern man is mind archaic. How? The heritage of the prehistoric man and Homo sapiens, I mean the same way of thinking and behavior. What is common between prehistoric man and Homo sapiens and postmodern man? The way of thinking that expresses itself by practicing relative evil such as corruption and absolute in exile and killing the other when stand against him or disagree with him. There was no major break. The strait of the extends from the primitive man and woman to what is today called the civilized man and woman, and despite the many differences, they share a common profession, conquest, hatred, murder, and domination. There is no break between the distant past and the postmodern era. Overall, summary, the book The Blank Slate by Steven Pinker argues against the idea that the mind is a blank slate. It shows that our brain come with certain universal attributed hardwired into it. He also disagreed two related concepts, that of the noble savage, as Rousseau said, and ghost in machine, and explain why they are not true. What distinguished Homo sapiens from every other living creature in the mind? The mind is oriented from origin to challenge this means life and other human around. The point of view of technology, and compared to the rest of the animal kingdom, Homo sapiens is distinguished by the complexity of its social relations, the use of an elaborated, articulated language transmitted through learning, the making of tools, the wearing of clothing, the mastery of fire, the domestication of many plant and animal species, as well as the aptitude of his cognitive system of abstraction, introspection, and spirituality. Some of these characteristics were shared by Homo. More generally, it is distinguished from any other animal species by the abundance and sophistication of its technical and artistic achievements, the importance of learning and cultural contribution in the development of the individual, but also by the extent of the transformations it operated in ecosystem. The science that studies modern human beings in all their aspects is anthropology. The one of the study is the evolution of paleoanthropology. It is regarding the Wikipedia that said my citation now. The capacity of the human mind, particularly in the terms of memory, imagination, and abstraction, are probably what best explain the evolutionary success of this species. Behavior main article, culture, society, social sciences, and behavioral modernity. Homo sapiens manifests a varied cultural activity which takes the form of one language or several languages, oral or not, as well as the cultural perception of the world contained by these languages, or races, or rights, or beliefs, technical and scientific. Knowledge and know how agricultural practice through the domestication of different animal and plant species, habitat improvement, medical care. On the behavior and social uses, taboo, subject, mode of the clothing or customs and tradition, for example, practice and making of artistic objects. We admit that there are simple culture in other present day primate, grooming method, termite, etc. tools, but it is only with the human species that we observe of modification of the culture with a cumulative aspect which allows it is reach a high level of complexity. An important aspect of the human culture which improve both its transmission and its accumulation, but also dogmatism, is the existence of writing. Culture is heterogeneous and differential groups of individuals. The study of these groups, called people, and their different characteristics is the subject of technology. The best technical culture which results in the making of the first tools of the mastery of the fire predict Homo sapiens. The first funeral wreath surely links to beliefs. The first artistic of decorative objects are attributed to Homo Neanderthal, and on the other hand, a prehistoric art, whether partial, rocks and movable. And the first human representations made their appearance of the beginning of the upper Paleolithic in modern humans. Conclusion. The continuing practice of human behavior in violence, conflict, strife, aggression, etc., extending from prehistoric times through Homo sapiens until today, has been interpreted by many philosophers, thinkers, and scientists, especially the theory of evolution and the biological sciences, and the beginning of the discussion about human nature. The interpretation of our state, each of us, is the product of multiple influence. Our biographies, religious affiliation, culture, material resources, and geography all contribute in the systematic ways. Nurtures emphasize flexibility, while naturalists emphasize fixity. And beyond the human nature, how culture of expression, etc., my reference, nature and nurture conspire together. Beyond the human nature, how culture and experience shape the human mind and behavior. But strictly speaking, these three nurture debates are independent. The first battle about innate ideas flared up long before people had formulated the concept of genetic inheritance and evolution. The second battle about innate individual and group differences is silent on the question of innate idea and usually silent on natural selection. The third debate about the evolutionary psychology bears of resemblance to the debate about the innate ideas, but evolutionary psychologists move beyond ideas to include innate emotions, ruled of inference and social disposition, and they posit Darwinian explanation of how all the innate machinery promoted fitness in our ancestor. Finally, the fighting between human beings existed from the first human, from prehistoric times, passing by Homo sapiens until today. And you can say, as an inference from this idea, that human has it all wrong. Nevertheless, the impossible must be confronted, or human remains without reason, wise and rational. Evil, fighting, conflicts, and criminality in human life would not be the story of genius, but rather emanating from the environment and culture. You have 2 points, environment and culture, maybe education also, and this has not changed through God history. Since the first human being and passing through Homo sapiens until today. And now it requires us to reconstruct our emotions, passions, intuitions, and inner feelings, subconscious, and a revolution of a different and a new kind. We are loyal of our first ancestors. Further readings, you have, for example, A Natural History of Human Thinking, the Michael Tomasello, and 2014, and also another book, A Brief History of Humankind, and Yuval Noah Harari, and also 2014. Now I will show you a just image for the resemblance between the prehistoric man and his action, so, and especially in the violence and war, and the man of today. Okay, okay, I finished my topic today. See you next time.